Good evening, creatures. Auntie Menace here tonight with Book 3 of Ada Langworthy Collier's Lilith, 1885, in honor of Women's History Month. Wide through her realm she walked, and glad or lorn she mused. So loitering it chanced one morn, when lone she sat upon a mountain height, one sudden stood anear, whose dark eyes bright upon her shone. Pallid his face, and red his smileless lips. "Who art thou?" Lilith said, and faint a hidden pain her hot heart stirred, when low and rarely sweet his voice she heard. She looked, half pleased and half in strange surprise, shrank 'neath the gaze of those wild, starry eyes. "O dame," the stranger said, "where waters leap, bright glancing down, I rested oft, where steep thy Eden o'er, bare-browed, a peak arose, not craving bloom or fruitage, nay, nor those frail joys Adam holds dear. One only boon I sought of all his heritage, fair 'neath the moon I saw thee stand, and all about thy feet the night her perfume spilled, soft incense meet. Then lo, I sighed, when grew thy beauty on my sight. Some comfort yet remains, if that I might from Adam pluck this perfect flower. Some mourn, if I, some dreamed of morn, perchance slow born, this flawless bloom, white, fragrant, lustrous, and pure, forever on my breast might hold secure. Yea, for thy love, through darkling realms of night, I followed thee, sharing thy fearful flight. Unseen, lo, when thy timid heart behind heard echoing phantom feet upon the wind. 'Twas I, pursuing o'er the day's last brink, wherefore I now am here. O Lilith, think how overmuch I love thee, and how sweet were life with thee. O weary naked feet, with me each onward path wilt thou not tread? Or, if thou endest here thy quest, he said, let me too bide with thee. Made answer low, Lilith thereto. Meseems, not long ago, one stood at Eden's gate like thee, but thy face is darker, red thy lips, of kingly race I know thee. Say, whence thou'st come, O prince? Nay then, he sighed, an outcast I, long since from heaven thrust out, yet now the curse is past. Nor mourn I heaven lost, if at the last thy love I win. Yea, where thou art I know is heaven, and bliss in sooth. Oh, soft and low, he said, lives ever in thy smile. His speech thus ended, and toward the sandy beach he passed, though long her eyes the stranger sought, where curved the distant shore, she saw him not. Soft through the trees the mottled shadows dropped, when Lilith in her pleasance sat, half propped against mossy trunk her slender length, her hair in sunny web enmeshed her elbows bare. Slowly the breeze swayed the mimosas slight, as Eblis pushed aside the bent boughs light. O dame, he said, it seemeth surely meet earth's richest gifts to lay at Lilith's feet. Therefore I said, unto the fairest one, things loveliest beneath the shining sun I bring. Since of all crafts in this young earth I am true master, unto her whose worth so much deserves, I bear this marble sphere, whose hallowed husk, well polished, gleaming clear, hides rarest fruit. Therewith the globe he showed, the half whereof smooth sparkling was, half glowed with carven work, embossed with pale leaves light, and delicately sculptured birds in flight, and clustered flowers frail, Lilith drew near with beaming eyes and laid the graven sphere against her smiling lips, or traced the vine that circled it with fingers slim. Mine, mine, is it, O prince? She cried. I know not why its beauty doth recall the wind's long sigh that surged among the palms. Methinks is death some summer tide that in its own sweet stead had left upon the stone its imagining. Eblis replied, On earth is anything more fair? If such thou knowest, Lilith, speak, that I for thee surely would straightway seek. Say, if indeed thou findest anywhere, on land or sea, created things so rare. And Lilith answered, On this earth so round, not else so lovely anywhere I found, so shames its meaner work. So had I said, but see you nodding palm that droops its head, low sighing o'er the wave. Bring me a bough, so feathery fine, turn thy white sphere. Now, on its cold, fair surface, Eblis, can thou such branches carve, or tender fronds, that we, bright waving on the cocoa, these may see? And Eblis wrought till grew upon the stone such airy boughs as on the cocoa shone. Then Lilith cried, Skilled craftsman, proven thou, didst thou then make my cocoa tree? Thy bough, pale graven, give the grace of its green crown, when through it night winds gently slip adown. No charm of color, nor of change, nor glow of blue noon sky, thy carven work doth show. Let dusk bees visit it, or sip the breath from thy chill marble buds. Then Lilith saith, Eblis hath wroughten noblest on this earth. He answered quick, Poor bauble, little worth. To Lilith, ope thy slighted husk, reveal the miracle thy rough rind doth conceal. He touched a hidden spring, and wide apart the riven sphere showed its white hollow heart, and in the midst a gem, the which he laid within her hand. Behold, he said, I made most fair for thee this lustrous blood-red sard, and deftly traced its gleaming surface hard, with carvings thick of bright acacias slim, pomegranates lush, and river reeds its rim. A spray of leaves enchased, white as with rime, night fallen. Slow drags the lagging time, I said, till one day shines upon the breast of her whose perfect beauty worthiest it decks this gem. The token, Lilith, take. If lovelier there be, for Eblis' sake, keep silent. Yet with me, O Lilith, go a while from thine own land, then shall I know the gem finds favor in thine eyes. Then she turned from her pleasance and all silently passed to the sea, across the yellow strand that glimmering ringed her shadowy land. O cool, he said, the lucent waves that fret the barren shore and curl thy scattered spray wet against thy hand. Come, my longing pinnace waits to bear thee far. Her slender keel now grates upon the beach, and swift her shapely prow will skim the deep as swallow's fleet wing. Thou seest, comely and strong it is, for thee its golden sails, its purple canopy. With skin of spotted pard I cushioned it, ere the fresh breeze doth die. Let us flit across the sea, no craft so proud, so staunch, goes glancing through the foam. I safely launch her now, and speed to fairy isles. Come thou with me. And glad she crossed the burnished prow, and 'mong the thick furred rugs sat down. O craft, fair fashioned, lightly built, speed far, she laughed. To other lands bear Lilith safe. As sailed they idly on, her slender hand she trailed among the waves, and sudden cried, Indeed, a craft stauncher than thine floats by. What need hath it of helm or prow or silken sail, sure harbour finding when the ocean's gale fast drives it onward? A nut she drew, round, rough, coarse husked forth from the wave. Lo, I found, she said, this boat well built. The cocoa tree cast it amid the foam, its pilot free, the summer wind, its port, the misty shore of ocean isles. It fades from sight, no more we say it sails the wild uncertain main, but when the drifting days are gone, again we turn our prow and reach the barren isles, where, stranded as we went, the nut now smiles. Above a bending tree, aloud we cry, a miracle is wrought. We draw anigh. Behold, the cocoa, towering, doth spring forth from the brown nut's head, about it cling. Sweet odors faint, and far stars trembling peep, when through its bowers cool the breezes creep. Strong, indeed, thy boat, well builded. I wis there be yet another craft as firm, Eblis, that o'er these trackless waters boldly glide. Brave Nautilus afar doth fearless ride, with sails of gossamer, so too doth spread to summer airs his silken gleaming thread. The water spider fleet, free sailor true, in that sunshine floats beneath the blue, glad skies, and through the deep, all sparkling, slip 1,000 insect swarms that rippling dip. Amid the merry waves, bright voyagers that roam the sultry seas, look, the wind stirs our creaking sails, thy pinnace flying o'er the ocean swell fast leaves the fading shore. Yet faster still the Nautilus sails by, and darts the spider quick, and swifter fly the insect fleets among the foam. Yet think not when among the billows wild doth sink thy bounding boat, I fear, nor would I slight thy skill that made it strong and swift and light, and trimmed it gaily for my sake. Now near a jutting shore Prince Eblis drew, where sheer the brown rocks rose, and just beyond a slim beach of white sand curved to the ocean's brim. Thereto he came, and high upon the strand drew the boat's keel. Welcome, fair queen, to land that Eblis rules, he said. I fain would show you thee what thou hast not seen in the warm glow of thy glad home. The blighted shore of mine no verdure hath, nor bloom, nor fruits that shine 'mong drooping boughs, for inland gloom lone peaks, or blackened meads, or from their bare cones leap gaunt, crackling flame, or crawl like ashen veins the smouldering fires across the stricken plains. Deep in these yawning caves black shadows lie that shall be lifted nevermore. Come, enter. Know thou what treasure by this sea I gathered other time. Therewith showed he, hid 'mong the high-heaped rocks, a dusky groat, where never sunshine fell, a dismal spot, where dank the seaweeds coiled, and cold the air swept through, and stooping, Eblis downward rolled before her webs of woven stuff, in fold of purple sheen and wrought with flecks of gold, great wefts of scarlet and blue, thick strewn with pearls, or cleft with discs of jacinth stone, and drifts of silky woof and samite white, and warps of orient hue. Eblis light wound round her neck a scarf of amber. Wide its smooth folds sweeping flowed, and proud he cried, Among these hills, in the still loom of night, I wrought for Lilith's pleasing all, and bright have spun these webs in blended morning hues, and noontide shades and trails of silver dews. Hereon have set fair traceries of cloud shine, and tints of the far vales, the textures fine, glow with sweet thoughts of thee. And otherwhere hast thou such fabrics seen, or colors rare as these? Dawned in her eyes a swift delight, and lo, she cried, O wondrous is the night, and much it pleaseth me, but yet she said. Beside my knee one morn, its hooded head a hage reared, its gliding shape so near to subtler music moved than my dull ear could catch. Its velvet skin I gently strake, watching the light that o'er its heaped coils break in glistening waves. Within its small, wise glance, flames silent slept, or quick and baleful dance, before my startled gaze quivering did wake. Fair is thy woof, soft woven, yet the snake outdazzled it. The beetle that doth boom its dull life out among the tangled gloom, lift his wide wing above thy weft or trail his splendor there, and thy poor web will pale. Yea, the red wayside lily that doth snare the girdled bee is softer still, more fair than finest woven cloth. But tenderly she smoothed the gleaming folds. Much pleaseth me. Nathless, she said, such loveliness. Then brought the tapestries of fleeces fine, well wrought in color soft as woodland mosses tinge, or glow of autumn blooms heavy with fringe of downward sweeping gold. Arras wherethrough showed mottled stripes, or arabesque of blue, broad zones of red and tender grays and hue of dropping leaves. Lilith, he said, when rolled the storm-tossed billows round these caves, behold, I spun these daintily. 'Twas hard to find such twisted weft or woven strand. O kind, she said, is Eblis, unto whom I fain would give due thanks his gorgeous train. But yesterday I saw the peacock spread, bright in the sun gleamed his small crested head, his haughty neck wrinkled to green and blue, and since I needs must truly speak, I knew not color rich as his, and I have ever seen the curious nest among the branches green, the busy weaver bird, plaits of thick leaves, and in and out its pliant meshes weave. And thou sayest, 'twere hard to match thy fine, strong woven fabrics. Watch the weaver twine his cunning weft. Though still, she said, think not I scorn thy gifts, Prince Eblis, for I wot their worth is greater than my tongue can say. Then Eblis deeper in the cave led her a little way, and showed a stately green of such fine art, one almost felt the breeze that seemed to part the pictured boughs, and o'er the stirless lake dreamed the swift wimpling water's sudden break, among the willows on its brink, and flowers of scarlet shining clean from summer showers. And Eblis said, cold praise a friend should spare, this picture true, certain naught else will dare vie with such beauty. Archly Lilith took the rose from her bright hair, and lightly shook the dewdrop from its heart. Eye-loving touch, she said, these petals smooth. O Eblis, such give to thy painted blooms, give its cold sheen of morning tide the mossy lush leaves green that fold it round. Give its faint fragrant breath when with the fickle breeze it dallieth. Nay, fairer still my rose than gilded screen, though it may be limited with perfect art, I ween. Thereat smiled Eblis bitterly. I bring one parting gift, he said, a dainty thing. Perchance in other time it will recall one who strove long and patiently through all these days to win thy praise. An oval plane of crystal gave he her, of fleck or stain clear gleaming, of ivory carven fine the frame, and when she looked, divine laughed. The beauty it enshrines canst claim aught else is fairer? And Lilith again gazed in the glass, her face beholding there, her pink flushed cheeks, her yellow streaming hair. Quick came her breath, "O prince," she slowly said, "fair is the stranger. Bid those lips so red. Speak once to Lilith, for methinks the voice of such in music flowed. Let me rejoice therein." "O glorious counterfeit," cried he, "lovelier is not on this earth wide. Behold, sweet Lilith, 'tis thine own pure face that lends my happy mirror perfect grace. It else had not. Bid thou thine image speak. No other happiness I elsewhere seek, if the soft tale she whispers be of me." And Lilith answered gravely, "I know thee, Eblis, master indeed of all crafts thou, red sard and marble sphere and agile prow, of penance light well wroughten were by thee, and decked full fair, and beauteous to see, fine woven weft and web, and the tall screen, o'errun with painted bloom, crystal with gleam of Lilith's face. Thou madest these. Mayhap beetle and asp likewise did wrap the green around my rose, and richly fringe my cocoa tree, or peacock's train did tinge with dazzling hues. Methought thou were a prince, but now Lilith should humbly kneel, since thou art far higher than she deemed, if thou madest these wondrous things. And lowly now, as she would kneel, she drew anigh. But he cried, shrinking, "Nay, I made them not." And she low questioned, "Eblis, tell me who then did make them all, who set the creeping hooded snake and stealthy pard within the thorny brake, and spread the sea and wreathed the waterfall with foam, who reared the hoar hills, towering tall above the lands?" With wild eyes flashing, low he groaned, "O Lilith, ask me not. My foe he was, he is. Trembles with wrath my frame, if I but faintly breathe his awful name." Lilith replied, "Meseemeth, master true, of every craft is he. Forth the two from that drear cavern passed. Ere the water's brim they gained, he plucked the wilding seas that slim stood by a brook. My pipe I make, one strain, harmonious to wake, nor yet again shalt thou such fresh notes hear, music like mine, methinks thou hast not known in any time." He laid his pipe unto his lips and blew. A blast, wild, piercing, sweet, the far hills through it rung, and softer fell, yet wild and clear, it ceased with drooping eyes. Once I did hear a song as wildly clear as sad, she said, in mine own realm. And as she spoke, dark dread, the sky grew with coming storm. "Oh, haste," he cried, "seek refuge ere this dreary waste reeks with the rain." And fast they sped back to his ocean cave. There, safe, o'erhead they watched the piling clouds with angry roar, and baffled billows broke upon the rocks. O'er them rushed the shrieking storm. Wild through the grot wandered the prisoned wind, a troubled ghost that sought repose, or low did moan and trembling wail, like some sore-hearted thing that hideth pale, and dare not front the day. And wilder still in chords melodious swelled or sank, until she sighed, "Oh, this weird harp among the caves strange players hath, for loud as one that raves. It rises, now more sweetly fade away, its mellow notes than thine thin pipes. One day," he said, "mayhap my strain may please, when wind doth not outpipe my slighted reeds. Unkind thou art. The storm is past to mine own land. I would return," she said, and Eblis o'er the strand led her, and homeward silent turned his prow, that swiftly through the swirling waves did plow. But when they parted, Eblis mused, "I know no gift soever winneth her, rich though it be and seemly. Into this pure soul, through fear of ill, I enter, or by the goal of future gain before it sets." So came he to her pleasance yet again, A flame leaped high above a brazier that he bore, its sweet, white-scented wood quick lapping o'er. With darkened face Eblis above her hung. This hath, than my poor pipe, a keener tongue. Smileless and stern, he said, O dame, list how the wild crisp crackling ruby flame eats through the tender boughs. A trusty knave it is that serves me well, and loud doth rave a tiger cage. When I do set it free, with angry fangs leaps upon its prey. But see, it now sleeps harmlessly, till Eblis calls his faithful servant back. Lilith, when falls the red fire at thy feet, dost fear? Nay, nay, she cried, and drew her white neck up. A way to tame it thou hast found. Believe me, since it is thy slave, I too will bind it, prince. Should Lilith fear? Unfaltering, these eyes have watched when rushing storm clouds heaped the skies, and black whirlwind with loud, deafening roar beat the torn waves, or whirled against the shore. The tumbling billows with fierce lips that bit the shrinking land, and wreathed lightning split the cloud with thunder dread, or wildly burst upon the sea the water spout. Shall first she fear thy flame that feared not these? Fit mate thou art for Eblis, answered he. His fate share, great-souled one. Would thou not meanly shrink, though his strong heart did fail? O Lilith, think! The crown of clustered worlds thou mayest find, if thou with him who loveth thee will bind thy life. Nay, far happier seems to me than eagle cage the wild lark soaring free, she said, and through her rose-pleached alleys strayed they to the sea, and tender music made that guileful voice, yet slowly his wooing sped those summer days. But when we're dead and brown the crisping leaves, O love, he said, of all the centuries thou rarest bloom, thy shut heart open wide, its sweet perfume. Though I should die, fain would I parting drink, sleeps yet thy love, from me no longer shrink. My Lilith, O lift up thy tender eyes, in their blue depths doth happy morning rise. 'Tis night, if they be closed, she softly sighed, an ancient strife recalling, thus replied. When dwelt a prince discrowned, well satisfied, and fallen, loving, still art thou a prince, and other whiles might sorrow bring me, since it might hap thou wouldst much desire her realm, were Lilith thine, for princes seize the helm. When love lies moored, and bid the shallop seek across the waves' new land, but love is weak. And so, alas, the craft upon the sands is dashed, while one, on looking, wrings her hands. Such days I have outlived. Like Adam thou, perchance, will seek to bind the loosed. Then how, if one has drunken wine of liberty, shall she athirst rejoice no longer free? Be glad? My love, he said, large-hearted lives, full dowers thee in royal bounty gives, nor knoweth law, save Lilith's wish alone. Why then, she answered, on this polished stone that fronts yon hill, write Eblis in full day, that other time we read it clear, and say, hereon are graven all those early vows we whispered low aneath the summer boughs, and write every word, so that the stone shall be ever a witness mute twixt thee and me. Then shall I know thou seekest in me no thrall, for after days, if thou make compact all thou hast said right now. Then on the stone, as she had said, graved Eblis, and thereon did set his seal. So wedded they, and hand in hand a wide world roamed, or in her land abode, and oft of hours ere yet on earth he walked, she questioned, or he loosed with mirth her yellow hair down streaming o'er his arm, and 'gainst his cheek her breath came sweet and warm. As through his dusky locks caressing played her fingers slim, and shadows half afraid she saw in his wild eyes, or paths remote they trod, watching the white clouds rise and float athwart the sky, or by the listless main, or 'neath the lotus bough slow paced the twain, or dragon trees spread their cool leafy screen, and faint crept odors through the mangroves green, where paused the pair upon the sandy shore, love tranced, unheeded swiftly passed them o'er glad summer days, till 1 hour softly laid at Lilith's feet a fair lone babe that strayed from distant dreamland far. So might one deem that looked upon its face, or it might seem from other climes a rose leaf blown apart, down fluttered there to gladden Lilith's heart.